Penn State, Michigan State. Penn State lost for the second straight week, 27-24 to Michigan State in a really weird game with a delay. The delay was like a 3-hour, 22-minute delay. So game didn't end until 7 o'clock pretty much, and it was supposed to end probably around like 3:45 or 3 o'clock. That's a little interesting. Overall, it was a pretty much a very fair, even game. I think nobody really outplayed each other, but one team had to win, and it was Michigan State. Both teams were able to move the ball pretty well. Penn State was able to not really develop a run game, neither was Michigan State, and both teams were able to pass at will. McShoy was able to make some nice passes, and Lewarke was able to make some nice passes. Um, I mean, Penn State didn't play that bad, but Penn State lost the game because they weren't able to quite generate enough pressure to Lewarke, and they weren't able to defend well. It was too soft defense in the secondary. Coverage was too soft, and they weren't able to make enough plays defensively. Sometimes Lewarke would be able to get out of the pocket. He would just throw it away. So then there would be good pressure. Some other times he would still find some open men. That kind of stuff can't happen. This Lewarke kid is a very good quarterback. He's going to be a very good quarterback. This Michigan State team's young, and they got a lot going for him. This team kind of reminds me of like a Penn State team last year, even like a Penn State team 2 years ago, even. That just really couldn't find its identity with poor play calling. Penn State offensively didn't play bad. I mean, you go 27-24, you go, Penn State need to put more points. Well, really, both teams could have put up more points, but there was a little bit of that reluctance to, there was a little bit of a reluctance to kick field goals, and they would go for it, or just punt and play the field position game. And, like, there were, like, 2 or 3 times, each team was in the other team's territory, like inside the 40-yard line, I'd say, and they didn't come away with points because McSorley threw a pick driving or like in Michigan State territory, and Lewarke did that in Penn State territory towards the end of the game. So I mean, pretty much it was a real back and forth game, and pretty much each team did the exact same game plan, and each team's defense really didn't do that well. Penn State was able to move the ball on Michigan State. They put up 466 yards. The problem was Michigan State's offense was able to put up points and yards on Penn State's defense. If Penn State is good against a quarterback that just sits in the pocket all day and can't run, or a guy that can't throw. And that's why Penn State was doing so well, because they were able to generate some pressure early on to some of these teams, and they were able to make them, they were either to generate enough pressure that he would get sacked, or they would make him throw, and he wouldn't be able to. This guy can throw, and he can run a little bit. And Penn State has 2 injured defensive linemen, so they weren't able to generate a ton of pressure, and they weren't able to really do a lot in the game. And that's pretty much why they weren't able to win the game. And the coverage was soft, and Michigan State's gotten better throughout the year. I mean, Michigan State, I looked at the Notre Dame game. Michigan State lost by 20 to Notre Dame, but they actually outgained them by over 100 yards. They just weren't able to turn those things into points, and they had a couple key turnovers. I think if they played them again, it might be a little bit of a different story. Michigan State, the reason why they lost to Northwestern was because they outplayed Northwestern too. They missed 2 key kicks, and they had a fumble. They could have won that game way more than, they could have won that game, and they should have. So Michigan State's a little bit underrated, I think. They're not a bad team, but Penn State still should have won this game. That's the bottom line. This Michigan State team isn't bad. I think they'll probably win out, or they'll lose to Ohio State. They'll be 9-3, and they'll probably be maybe a 10-3 season, maybe top 10. No, they're probably like top 15-ish, maybe top 20. But at the end of the day, Penn State's got 2 losses. They're out of the playoff race now. If they can beat Rutgers, Maryland, Nebraska 10-2, I think they should be able to do that as long as they don't completely fall apart. And they can probably, if they do that, they'll make a New Year's Six bowl, which would be still not a bad season, but not what everybody wanted going into this 3-game stretch, 6-0, and thinking, hey, if we can win 2, we might make the playoff. If we win 1, we're not going to, and if we lose all of them, then that would be disappointing. So that's a wrap for this video. Peace out, guys.